Welcome, John, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you again because last year we spoke with the Frost album. Now we spoke for Lonely Robot album. So, how have you been doing during the last times? Because, well, the last year, or perhaps during this completely crazy war, because we started the pandemic 2 years ago. Now, a curious thing. This year, Europe started a war. That's a curious thing. So how have you been during these crazy times? Perhaps next year, or who knows when? What happened next couple of years? Alien invasion, zombie apocalypse, the machines takes the power. It's really amazing, really crazy war.
Well, where to begin with that? Yeah, there is a war on, isn't there? It's gone on longer than I thought it would, I must say. I did rather think that I don't know. What a strange thing to plan during a lockdown. You
Yeah.
know, oh, everyone's ill. I think I'll plan a war. Not funny, of course. It's a very serious matter, but well, yes. I've been okay. I haven't been drafted into the army or anything, so I'm probably too old for that now. I'm all right. I'm good, and I've been quite busy making music, going sailing, and stuff like that. So I'm okay. I'm in good spirits. How have you been?
No, great. Last year was to do with you are much better here. The, much better
Where's,
here.
remind me where you are. Are you in Portugal?
Peru,
Peru. I knew
Peru,
that. I
Peru.
knew that. I knew that. You're in Peru. Deepest
Yeah,
dark Peru.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So, talking about now about this new album, Another Life, you present a new form of hearing the music from Lonely Robert. So, for you, what is the biggest difference that exists from this album from all your projects? Because you have a lot of projects upcoming, so it's very difficult to know for you which is the biggest difference that this Another Life has compared to your previous works or other bands that you had.
The biggest difference, I think, with this album, the biggest difference is I went crazy on the guitar. I decided to play far too many guitar solos. On the Frost album we kind of had a rule that we weren't going to do any widdly. So no fast keyboard solos, no fast guitar solos, no guitar solos at all, no keyboard solos. And of course, this time I'm just making up for lost time. I'm playing on this album. I don't know. I kind of rediscovered my love of lead guitar. I think, which has been absent in recent years. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, and I played a bunch of different guitars on this record. I kind of really got back into the guitar, because in previous Lonely Robot albums, for some reason, I decided I was a synth player, which I'm really not. So on this Lonely Robot album, it's more about the guitar than anything, you know. So yeah, and it's a very personal album. It's about all
Mm,
sorts of
okay.
moments in my life and people in my life. So it's yeah, I know progressive rock is mainly known for wizards and spaceships and stuff, and this is this is about ex-girlfriends and angry fathers. so so it's kind of a different thing, I suppose.
Okay. Well, in your four albums since the beginning to now, you always going too deep into the relaxed stuff, soft stuff. You have a lot of textures, but into the soft area of the music, or especially the rock, progressive rock music. So for you, what is your opinion about when a musician into the rock progressive or metal progressive, they play like a crazy person with a lot of scales, with a lot of notes in just one rhymes. So as one that like a calisthenic person trying to do that more faster than the previous one. So what's your opinion about the music faster into the progressive scene?
I absolutely hate that music. Um, I find I and I it's, you know it's it, I realize that my music isn't to everyone's taste because it's not doesn't rely upon technicality. Of course, ironically, I suppose I am in the band Frost, which has in the past been known for their technicality. But as you get older, I think other things become more important. Um, I've always found a lot of the music I grew up with, like in the 80s, like Tears for Fears, and obviously Peter Gabriel, and none of that was about technical prowess. And I don't know. I suppose that was impressive when I was 16 years old. Playing fast guitar was kind of important to me then, but it's not important to me now. And it's nice to show off occasionally, I suppose. But really, no, I've never been into technical. What do you call it? Math metal or progressive metal. I've never really been into that. It doesn't, I'm far too English to understand that.
Okay, okay. Well,
It doesn't do it for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's very different tastes for the new people. So talking about the aspect, well, you always maintain the things into your Lonely Robot fresh, very busy in some textures, as I said. So how do you avoid to repeat by yourself into your in Lonely Robot albums, and at the same time have a lot of projects into there? Because how do you separate the ideas? Which, well, when you compose a new riff, a new rhyme, a new scheme, how who know when in what time do you know which riffs goes to the Frost, which riffs goes to the Lonely Robot and the other projects?
Well, I mean, Frost is largely Jem Godfrey's project, if we are going to use the word project. Um, I don't know. He just has a slightly different way of writing music to me, and when I collaborate with him, I don't think a lot of the stuff that I write for Lonely Robot would end up being on a Frost album. I tend not to try, I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that question. I think every band ultimately does start repeating themselves at one point. I think Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi once said every musician or songwriter has 5 songs in them that they just repeat, and they write 5 songs which are quite different to each other stylistically and in tempo, and then you just end up repeating them again and again and again. I think that's probably quite true. I mean, there are certain things I don't know. In terms of, I mean, I don't. I tell you what, I don't. I with Frost, I tend to write on the guitar. If I'm writing with Frost, if I write on anything, it's with the guitar. And with Lonely Robot, I tend to write on the piano. So from that point of view, I tend to play different chords. I find that when I write on the piano, different chords fall under my hands than when I play on the guitar. So I think that's probably a great benefit to the two. That keeps the two writing styles separate, I think, mainly.
Okay. Okay. Well, as bueno, we are living now in a crazy. Well, we are living now in an easy way to hear music with the digital platforms, with this kind of stuff. When your music always has bring us a lot of complex, a lot of textures. If we see the times of the songs, recalibrating has 5 minutes, species of transition 6 minutes. Always, usually, this is a for the new generation is very hard to understand because they prefer to hear a small single with 3 or 2 minutes and then change the band. So how do you see these new forms of hearing music with 1 2 songs from an album and no, not usually whole albums? And what are you select to create these aspects more with more textures, with more flavors into the music?
I heard recently that somebody had invented an algorithm that works out, I don't know, something to do with how to get how best to get your track playlisted on Spotify. So it has to be into a chorus or into a hook within like 10 seconds. And I'm just like, wow, that's what it's come down to. I understand that people have a limited attention span, and kids these days, it's all about shh, shh. Sorry, my cat is going crazy. I got you. I got you. There he is. So I know full well that people have a limited attention span these days, and it's all about TikTok and things happening quickly. I can't, I have to have some sort of faith that, um, I have to have faith that people have more patience than that, because of course when I was growing up it was all about listening to albums on your headphones in a dark room like Pink Floyd or whatever. And I honestly believe that people are prepared. It's like reading a book. If people can still read a book, they can listen to an album, right? Surely that's
Yeah.
the argument for that. And I don't know how. I honestly don't. I don't really use Spotify, not out of any belligerent thing. I don't really like the way music sounds on Spotify because I don't think it's coded at a particularly high, uh, uh, um, you know, bit rate. I don't think it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't. I do have an account, and I have to have an account because I've got a Lonely Robot, artist profile. But for me, I always used to like the fact that when you bought an album, you were more invested in it than if you hadn't bought an album. So I'm kind of from that generation, and I just don't understand. I don't understand Spotify culture or playlists or flitting through music or anything. I've got a lot more patience for music than that. That said, I probably should use Spotify because I have got stuck in a bit of a rut in the music that I listen to. I haven't really discovered any new music, and it's occasionally Jem Godfrey will send me something which is like a new band he's discovered, and I always enjoy it. So maybe I should be a bit more open-minded to these things. But certainly, um, I honestly think at some point in time, hopefully, well, like I suppose it's not going to get any better, is it? Because that's the way that music is consumed these days, and people's attention spans are shorter. But certainly, I have no affinity with it, and I certainly that's not the way I listen to music. And if I do listen to music, I don't listen to music very often, to be honest with you, because I spend so much time in a studio recording other bands, and so much time, producing music and mixing bands and stuff. So when the last thing I want to do after a long day doing that is listen to music. But if I were to listen to music, it wouldn't be um, I don't know, some progressive metal. It'd be like something relaxing, like I don't know, Chopin or something. Something piano based, something relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you think about the when the science says that the when a song brings a 15 of I think 10 or 15 seconds that the music bring us the whole essence of the songs. But when you spend more time hearing a song, there's no soul catch enough to bring us more material. So what do you think about the science said that the first 15 seconds are the best ones to relate into the song and into the music with the band?
Well, I think that's what they used to say, isn't it? In the '60s. This is ironically, this is going back to the 1960s when the rule was you had to be in the chorus within. I think it used to be 30 seconds that you had to be. Music songs didn't tend to last more than about 2.5 minutes, did they? And the idea was you had to be in the chorus. You have to make a big impression. I don't know. You're talking to somebody that writes progressive rock. I don't see how it. I don't know. I don't know. These are not things I've considered really. I like the long setup in a song. I really like. I was listening to "Awakened" by Yes the other day, and I really like that song. And I like the way it gradually builds and everything about it. I don't know. I think if you've got that little patience that you have to be in a chorus within 15 seconds, then probably you should. I can't see that you necessarily are a music fan per se. It's a very strange way of looking at music. Music shouldn't be about immediate satisfaction. You should have to invest time in music, I feel. So yeah.
Mm, okay, okay. And when talking about in the news, well, I usually when I ask about the from the usually when I ask about the especially the progressive rock and progressive musicians, usually has a lot of flavors, textures. When as I said many times now in this interview and the previous one with for us. So for you, we will focus this direction, the textures and flavors, direct into the synesthesia matter. Perhaps do you hear this?
In
Do
what?
you,
Sorry.
synesthesia.
Oh, synesthesia. You mean they identify music with colours?
Yes, yes. But we will try to do something more hard or more tricky and about this. So if we try to relate the synesthesia aspect, that some people see colors, some people smell things when they hear music, and some people say some flavors into the music. So talking about the chocolate, talking about the who knows, it's very different way. So what kind of odors, what kind of tastes, and what kind of colors that the listeners will find into this a model life?
I don't know. I mean, when I hear keys, I associate certain keys with different colours. Um, D minor to me, whenever I hear D minor, I associate it with the colour red. I always associate. like B flat with turquoise. It's very strange. So I kind of like B flat quite a lot. I don't know. It depends I really, these are strange questions, man. I
Yeah.
don't know the answers to them. What colors are they going to see? Well, as long as they see bright colors, I'm happy. As long as it's, I mean, the main thing about it is that, I suppose lyrically this album is quite dark, but I think musically it's quite uplifting. So as long as they see a lot of vibrant colors when they hear the music, and yeah, I don't know. Certainly, I think Rain Kings is a very green song, so that if they don't see the color green when they hear Rain Kings, I've done something wrong.
Mm. Okay, okay. Well, talking about now of the cover arts, you present always a different cover, sometimes related to the spaceman into there. But this album, as you said, you present a lot of emotions into there, and that's why. What is the exactly meaning of the cover art? Because two person hugging and the name of the model life is like a sci-fi movie.
Well, the whole astronaut thing is, I mean, that finished with the album Under Stars. So it was basically about finding something that I was happy with. Originally, I wanted it to be even simpler than it currently is. I wanted it to be like, stick men. You know, when you see like road signs, those stick people. I wanted it to be two stick people hanging. The reason behind the cover is basically I think, certainly throughout lockdown. I mean, I saw quite a lot of kindness in people, a lot of people checking in on each other, making sure they're okay. I mean, you could argue that human beings are ultimately quite selfish creatures. I don't know. I think the cover, because ultimately, I think human beings are preoccupied with a bunch of nonsense like Instagram and presenting their version of what they want other people to see about them. So like on Instagram, you've got people, on beautiful beaches living their best life, as it were. And of course, it's all a fallacy, just trying to impress other people. The reality is that that's actually quite a vacuous way of expressing oneself, or a vapid way of expressing oneself. And really, what it actually boils down to is basic kindness. And I thought the album cover kind of represented basic kindness, and I think, in the world that we live in, I just really, I don't think, I sometimes wonder if I was born in the wrong century or something, because certainly, I think people's priorities have got skewed to the degree that I can't relate to them anymore. I don't find it necessary to post pictures of paella on Instagram. I mean, I quite appreciate videos of cats doing stupid things. I suppose that's quite amusing, but really, I don't want to see people boasting about what holiday they went on. It's just, it's like the eternal quest for positive self-affirmation, and it's really not a healthy way of getting positive self-affirmation. That has to come from within, not externally. So I think the cover basically represents a very simplistic, because the things that should make you happy in life are very simple or complex in some ways, but basically love is the thing that matters the most. And I thought that was quite a good representation of that.
Mm, great. When you talk about the feelings like love into this new album, it's impossible to not relate with your previous album. Feelings are good, so it's and sometimes it's very connected with the title and the sensations that we will find into this new album.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, I think Feelings Are Good was like an ironic title, because, of course, feelings are feelings. They're neither good nor bad. They're an essential part of living. But I think at the time, the slightly contentious artwork for that previous album, which was basically a picture of me with crosses over my eyes and tape over my mouth, is basically saying, I don't want to have to deal with things that I don't want to have to deal with. It was the representation of that. Whereas I think now I've come to realize actually you have to, what's the expression? You can't have a rainbow without a little rain. So you have to go through, the inevitability of your life and things being impermanent. The fact nothing will last forever. And unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to people. I've lost a lot of people in the last 2 weeks who I'm very fond of, who have died. And it's a struggle, and it's just one of those things you have to face head on and traditionally, people cope in different ways, and in the past, perhaps my way of coping with things was like drinking myself into oblivion or whatever. Some people do drugs, and it's no way to deal with, emotional upheaval, because it's going to happen to you throughout your life, whatever you try and do. And I think more than anything, this album was far more useful to me in so many ways. When I wrote it and recorded it, it was a positive way of overcoming some hurdles that had been prescient in my life. And my normal course of action would be, if when anybody dies or I have to face some sort of emotional turmoil, I probably do drink far too much alcohol. And I think this time round, rather than doing that, making music was a much better way of processing it.
Great, great. Well, okay, talking about the feelings, about the music, and especially around the world and a common general, it's a common thing that when a person was hit by like huge problems, all the time the music is more relaxed. As you can see, it's more relaxed. But when they usually are happy, are more happiness into their life, the music is more tricky. The music is more I don't know, more alive. But when you have a harder problems in their life, all the music is a very counterproductive theme, is very relaxed, very soft. So how do you manage the sensations? And it's possible to get the achieve the one to get the achieve feelings into the music. It's possible to achieve that.
Well, you're saying that when people have emotional upheaval, their music
Yes.
is more relaxed.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. I think the opposite. If you want
The
to listen to
opposite. Yeah.
Pink Floyd's The Wall, there ain't nothing relaxed about that piece of music. Mind you, I don't think Roger Waters has ever been particularly happy. I don't know. I think that I can only speak from my own experience, and I think that certainly with this album, A Model Life, I honestly think that I do think it's quite uplifting. Uplifting is the word I would use. And even though the subject matter of some of these songs is quite bleak, and I kind of do wear my heart on my sleeve, I still think that the music is uplifting, and I think I I think I think I think that's what I think that's what anybody should take away from it. Really, I think that it is possible to write something which is quite meaningful and quite poignant, but at the same time make the music sound hopeful. I think that's the one thing I think if I'm good at anything, I think that's what it would be.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, we are very close to this interview, John. And talking about from this new album, what are the future plans that the band has for this new album? Perhaps coming tour, more videos upcoming, or who knows in the near future, Latin American tour here.
Well, these things, I mean, it's always a matter of practicality, obviously, to travel. I mean, I think that's why I discovered recently why the Cruise to the Edge uh, boat that everyone goes on every year is such a success that it is. Of course, that you don't have to get a US visa, because technically you're not playing on in the United States. You're playing in international waters, so that's why you don't have to get a visa. But whenever you play abroad, like in the US, you do have to get a visa if you want to do things correctly, and it's a lot of money to get a band out there. So there has to be somebody willing to put the money up to pay for the band to come over so that you can do these gigs. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And putting on a concert is a massive undertaking. I'm not sure how many fans of my music I have in the country that you're from, or indeed America. I know that I sell quite a lot of records in England and in Germany. So there is every opportunity that I might do some. Well, I know that I'm doing some gigs in mainland Europe in February. So that's my immediate plan. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and yeah, it's those are my immediate plans with it. Although the album, my immediate plan is to actually get the album launched, because it comes out this Friday. So I've got to go and do an album playback on Thursday. Then on Friday, I'm going to do a small acoustic gig in my hometown to help launch the album. So that I'm looking forward to that.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Well, John, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one as I did. And it's a huge it's a huge pleasure to talk with you again. Now for your personal project, Loneliness Robot. So perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metallican followers?
Yeah, I'm just saying I really hope you like this album. I think I am of the opinion, and everyone, I mean, I can honestly tell you, there was a friend of mine once said, you know, everybody wants to be able to say that this album is my favorite album that I've ever made. Um, I really liked the album Under Stars, and I always used to think that was my favorite album that I'd made. But actually, I think this one trumps it. So I hope everybody enjoys listening to it as much I enjoyed making it. And hello to everybody down there in Peru, really.